Hi guys and welcome to another episode of Queer Chat. In today's video, we are joined by Irrelevance.
Calum McSwiggan. Was that really the intro?
Hi guys and welcome back to Queer Chat episode 3. Now I'm joined with my best friend, my housemate and my secret lover, Calum McSwiggan. Don't tell the press. So we want to discuss it with you today, all about online abuse within the LGBT community online. And so I missed out the Q+.
You'll get abused for that in itself.
I can't. So exactly.
We all get hate. We all get hate comments like, faggots burn in hell.
Which
all
is
that
true,
kind
we
of
do
thing.
burn in
We
hell.
do burn in hell.
Look,
That's not what we're talking about. We're talking about abuse from LGBT plus people towards other LGBT plus people because it's really, really rife within our community.
Yeah.
And I think that like certain intersectional minorities within our community are often targeted. So whether you're a lesbian, whether you're a trans person, whether you're an effeminate gay man, there are all these different reasons that other LGBT plus people seem to use to attack.
Yeah. I have faced a lot of hatred. First of all, just because I am very feminine. Like, from the very, very start of me joining YouTube, I think one of the main comments I got was from inside the community. You're making gay people look bad, you know, you're so faggot, like, you're such a faggot, like, why can't you man up?
Yeah.
Man, I hate that phrase, man up, like, woman up, bitch. Constantly I would get people saying to me, like, you're the reason, like, you know, straight people hate us, and like, oh, gay pride, or why would you, just because you're flailing around, like, why can't you, like, blend into society? Imagine me trying to be, like, this generic, like, take out all of the piercings, no more makeup, boom, man. What should I do, become, like, a carpenter or something?
Ew.
It's ridiculous, because I see it as, I'm not happy with myself, so you can't be happy either. I can't live the way that I want to live, so you can't do that either, because it's not fair on me. Actually, it's not fair on me for you to push your own agenda onto someone else because you don't have it great or you can't, you know, accept yourself.
I think it was really interesting what you said about pushing your agenda, because I think a lot of people harass people and send hate towards people under the guise of doing the right thing, under the guise of, I'm gonna come in on my white horse and I'm gonna save the day because you are a problem in our community, because you're really effeminate and that is letting the rest of us down. And they use that stance to then throw hate at other people, and they use their moral standing point to try and justify it.
Yeah.
I mean, go and take a look at the comments on Roly's videos, for instance, and you will find comments like that on every single video. Somebody saying, I am in the right and you are a problem, and here's why you are a problem.
What the hell does man up even mean?
Oh,
Like,
don't
what-
even get me started.
what is-
Don't
what- like,
even
what
get
is that? Like,
me started. From a tiny, young age, all these kids and boys are constantly being told, man up, because somehow any sign of femininity is a problem towards society.
Yeah.
Somehow a boy showing their feminine side is this enormous issue that's going to tear apart society, and
It
these
is.
people are monsters.
I mean, what can I say? I mean,
Let's actually pick this apart though, because like, why are people within the LGBT plus community using things like man up again? Why are gay men saying things like man up to other gay men? So it's obviously to do with their own insecurities, but why are they so angry about gay people, for instance, being in Pride and waving their rainbow flags around? Because I see that all the time. Like, we don't need Pride, you're just making a show of yourselves. Blend in, like you were saying.
even so I just
Don't derail me.
Okay,
I'm gonna make a very good point. Do not derail me.
Oh, you're such a man.
I've manned
you've
up.
manned up.
They somehow feel that all this femininity is pushing them out and making them feel like they're being left behind by the rest of the community. So they're hitting back by attacking those people and saying, you all need to man up. It's really sad that they have felt left behind in the first place.
Well, let's see all the rights they would have had if it wasn't for us. If it wasn't for the campy queens, the drag queens, you know, the trans people shouting up from the beginning, you wouldn't be allowed to be who you are right now. So sit the fuck down and shut up. Like, really angers me. No, take a sofa, take several seats, take a row, take a whole cinema.
I love that I was like, let's try and understand these people. Let's try and understand where this hatred comes from so we can try and find a way to mend it. And you're like, you know what? Fuck you all.
I have to sit there and go through all this like hatred towards me because I'm not seen as a vital part of the society. because I'm effeminate, because I'm this, because other gay people are too insecure. Well, that's your problem and you have to deal with that. That's nothing to do with me. And to tell me not to be myself is no different than straight people telling you to stop having sex with men. What I find funny as well is instead of actually going in the community and actually trying to make a difference, instead of saying, we're here, we don't fit the stereotype, but we're fine, we're happy and it's great, they say, you can't be yours, like, don't you be you because you're making us look bad. Instead of actually saying, well, why don't I speak up, I do videos, I put myself out there and say, hey, this is another side that you might not necessarily see. Don't blame us, it's not our fault.
No, not at all.
People say that the only gay people that get portrayed on TV or that are on TV are flamboyant, loud people like us. That's because you can just necessarily tell. There are so many LGBT people out there on TV, on shows, but because they're not as loud as us, you just don't know that, like, they're there. Like, what do you want them to do? Suddenly be like, I'm gay too, but that's not who they are.
Yeah, it's like if you're walking through, like, the gay scene in London, for instance, and you see one, like, super feminine person, like, waving a rainbow flag or something, are you gonna go, oh, you're giving gays a bad name, when actually you're surrounded by gay people, you just didn't realise.
That's the point, and this is what really annoys me, that it's not them portraying gay people as this, it's just because we're the ones who are just more noticeable.
Yeah.
I'm not being gay, I'm just being, like, my flamboyant self. They just happen to go hand in hand most of the time. Like, and then we come on to another topic that kind of goes into this, is erasures of identities and erasures of other people's labels because they might not necessarily fit what you have. Now, I know I've talked about this kind of stuff in the past. You as a gay person, everyone instantly thinks Calum's gonna be a top or a bottom when he doesn't like either, like he's a side.
Yeah, because my preference is not to have anal sex. The amount of, like, people telling me that I'm wrong.
I think you get a lot of snidey comments.
Snidey comments.
It's like they're kind of like, you're not actually having sex then.
Yeah,
like
that kind of, like, I get that all the time, and, like, so many times, well-meaning people, friends even, sometimes I was like, oh yeah, I was having sex with this guy last night, and they're like, oh, I thought you don't have sex, and I'm like, for fuck's sake, you know what I mean? Like, just because I'm not having penetrative anal sex doesn't mean that I'm not having sex. And by people constantly being like, I didn't think you had sex, all that is saying is your sex isn't valid. Because that's the idea that if there's sex but there's no penetration, that it isn't valid, which excludes so many trans people. It excludes lesbian people. It excludes people like me who don't enjoy penetrative sex. But other people whose identities are like this, asexual people, like non-binary people, bisexual people, these are examples of people who are constantly told that their identities aren't valid, that they're not real. There's a lot of gay men out there. They're a minority themselves, but they've kind of, like, taken the LGBT plus community. So much of the time when you hear LGBT plus, it actually means gay men. People use the two interchangeably, and it's like, actually, this community isn't just about gay men. There are so many other people here. I feel like those people, again, they're so often left behind. Here's a club for gay men. Nobody else is allowed in. That's a literal thing that happens in London. We were queuing outside a club, I'm not going to say which one. Me and Roly and a couple of our friends, we were smashed. We were, like, really, really drunk. There was a group of lesbian women stood in front of us, queuing quietly and politely, just having quiet conversation with each other. They got to the front of the queue and they were turned away because they were too drunk. When in actual fact, they were turned away because they were women, because they were lesbian women. And then us drunken tits come in and they're like, oh, come on in, boys. It's awful, and it sounds like we're making this up, but we're absolutely not. And it's not just women, it's anyone that basically doesn't fit the profile of a young, gay, white, cis man.
I know, as a non-binary person myself, and I obviously use the term queer a lot because I like it just because it seems to, you know, express more of the person I am rather than just gay. I find it really difficult because I get a lot of people telling me I can't be gay and non-binary, and it's difficult
because you want to identify as gay. You've used that label, that's always been your label, and you're owning that and taking that. But you're non-binary as well. But I do think that's why, like, the word queer is great.
If I go to someone and say, I'm gay, they would instantly think he likes someone like Calum, like that. Do you know what I mean? Like, if I go, I'm androsexual or I'm this, people are just gonna like, what?
What are you talking about?
Like, if I say I'm gay, they look at me and think, okay, he likes other guys. Like,
they understand.
It's so much easier to be able to say that rather than me then explain to them, oh, I like this and I like it. I don't get why that makes people get so angry or makes people get so upset. Like, What does it make a difference to you anyway? Like, I'm not having sex with you. The thing is,
What's that?
androsexuality can include masculine and females. And because I don't
So
find...
again,
This is
yeah,
what I mean,
like-
because I don't find females, like, I'm not into girls at all. Like, that's not something that I go after.
That also doesn't explain your
Exactly.
identity.
So no matter what I really say, there's nothing that will fit my sort of label exactly.
Yeah.
So you saying gay just makes it so much easier.
So the other thing I wanted to talk about was like call out culture. This kind of ropes back to what we were talking about at the beginning of the video when we were talking about people using, like, taking the moral high ground as an excuse to attack and criticize other people within the same community. And I think we have this like call out culture where people are so quick to want to go and attack other people. The example I constantly use was James Charles, 17-year-old YouTuber, and he stupidly and ignorantly made a slightly racist comment on Twitter. He didn't mean malice by that. He was trying to be funny. It was not funny and it was offensive, and he was rightly called out for that. And I completely agree that's the right thing to do. If you tweet something like that, then you have to accept the consequences of that, and people have the right to say, dude, this is not okay. You need to delete this and you need to apologize. However, he did apologize. He apologized over and over and over again. Genuinely sorry. You could tell that he was genuinely sorry. And that wasn't good enough for people.
Yeah.
They continued to attack him. And years later, he's still being attacked for that. And people just pile on and pile on and pile on. And everybody wants to jump in on it. And that just escalates and escalates and escalates to the point that you've got tens of thousands of people bullying a 17-year-old boy and using this kind of, we're calling him out as justification. You're not calling him out anymore. Calling somebody out is going, dude, that's not okay. You need to apologise and retract this.
Yeah.
That's calling
And also,
somebody
like,
out.
if someone didn't understand, you maybe explain to them what it was that's offensive. Maybe people are just ignorant. Like, a lot of people are ignorant. Sometimes people outside the community might make a comment about the community itself just because they don't actually understand, not necessarily because they're saying something horrible, like they're not trying to be an asshole. When it comes to non-binary stuff, you know, pronouns, all these sort of like identities and stuff, people outside don't understand, they're confused, they don't get it. Straight people in the straight world who are in small towns and places don't understand, they don't get it. So when someone makes a tiny comment that's not even really meant in a malice way, I think the community sometimes gets a little bit too much, you're a disgrace, you should die, you're scum.
Yeah,
and
that
it's
is what
like,
happens, yeah.
like, why you, like, it's literally making other people outside the community going, don't like these lot, they're a bit too scary for us. Like, why not say, this is not right, this, like, we prefer these pronouns, or, you know, this is what our identity is, and try to explain to them why what they've said is not, you know, not necessarily right, a bit problematic.
Always try and educate. Or what's the point? What's the point in calling that person out? And I think a lot of the time, and a lot of people won't admit it, but I genuinely think this is the case, a lot of people take a great enjoyment and satisfaction in watching somebody else fail. This is something that happened to me on an enormous scale as well. Like, a couple of years ago, I was accused of a crime I didn't commit. That went global. That hit every publication in the world. And the amount of people who came to me, we're talking thousands and thousands of people who came to attack me and criticize me.
Within the community.
Within the community. These were other LGBT plus people who came to tell me what an awful person I was. People sent me pictures of gay men with their heads caved in and said, this is what needs to happen to you. This is what you deserve. For this thing that everyone believed that wasn't even true.
Being with you around that time and like all the like the stuff that we saw, there were so many lies told about you within press, within news of like, so like when you went to your parents to go visit them in Spain, who live in Spain because like you need to go see them.
Yeah, there was an article written about me that said I skipped court to go on a family vacation in Spain, which is absolutely not what happened at all. I went to every single court date I was supposed to go. The court moved one of my court dates, so I went to my parents who live in Spain because I was going through a really tough time and I went to see my parents. And that's the kind of way that the media twist things, and also people in general twist things. The amount of twisting and manipulation that happened, and again, it was all to like drag me down as much as possible. And let's all take great pleasure in all having a go at Calum, and it didn't achieve anything. It was like flogging a dead horse. I had all these people coming to me saying, "You're a disgusting person. You need to apologize." And I was literally sat there like, guys, apologize for what? I'm being accused of something I literally did not do. At one point, hundreds of tweets at me in a minute. All hate-filled tweets.
Yeah.
And I know what everyone is going to say, oh, just turn off your phone. Don't look at your phone. It's not that simple. It's like, imagine there's a mob of 10,000 people stood outside your house with pitchforks, screaming horrible things. You can close the curtains, but you know it's still there.
Yeah.
You know it's still happening. You have to keep checking because you're desperately hoping that they're gone away.
Yeah.
But every time you check, they're still there.
Seeing you go out afterwards, I noticed how much it affected you when we would go out clubbing afterwards because you were scared. Like, you were really scared about what people might do to you because, you know, you receive so much hate within the community, and then you're going into queer spaces where these people had been tweeting you. Like, we know a lot of people in London who are LGBT, who are in our community, who are tweeting you, like who were sending all this stuff to you, who live in London, who go out in London, and it is scary.
There were cases when I would be in a queer space and I would see somebody in the bar who had literally tweeted me threats online, and it was a horrible feeling. So yeah, my whole life I'd wanted to find this community, and then I found this amazing LGBT plus community, which I've been a part of for 10 years now, and then suddenly I felt scared. And I remember, I think I was with you one time, and somebody started shouting my name as we were walking down the street.
No, I remember, yeah.
And I literally, I felt like I was going to break down. I was so scared. And it was actually a lovely boy who came up and was like, oh my God, I love your YouTube videos. Thank you so much. Can I get a picture? People don't realise how you can make someone feel by like tweeting abuse at them. Forget whether or not you think it's justified. Like, if you want to believe I'm a liar, then fine. But like, what are you actually achieving by tweeting me and calling me a liar and saying horrible, horrible things to me?
I'm sorry, but it's quite obvious that 80% of the people who were doing that would have just seen a headline.
So many people saw headlines about me, and without reading it into any information, without reading my statements, without looking at the fucking evidence that fucking cleared my name, without looking at any of that stuff, people read a headline and assumed the worst about me. I have a rule, and if you ever see me breaking this rule, I expect you to call me out instantly, is to never say anything negative about anyone online. Sometimes it's really tempting when you see somebody do a really shitty thing and everybody's jumping in and everybody's getting involved and everyone's throwing stones. It is so tempting to pick up a stone and throw it as well, but don't. Every single person watching this video, and I know there are so many of you watching this video who are saying, I've never said anything bad against anyone, I've never hated on anyone, and that's great, but I still want you to listen if you are that person. Just really, really think about the way you carry yourself online and also the way you carry yourself within your community, and just constantly make an effort to include everyone and constantly make an effort to make sure that you are not hurting somebody.
And be careful as well when you call someone out, because trust me, I bet there's some stuff online that you probably wouldn't want to come out of yourself. That you've probably said some shitty things in the past.
Every single fucking person.
That you think that it's all covered up, it's all blah, blah, blah. Tweets. So many tweets come out now that people have been saying things like years and years ago, and before they were like, I can't believe people do this, and then it's
every fucking person out there, as far as I'm concerned, has something that they have said or done in their life that would make a juicy Daily Mail headline that you would be absolutely ripped apart by our entire community and the wider world for.
No one can honestly say that they're 100% like pristine and they've done nothing.
We all make fucking mistakes,
like,
Jesus.
And we've done stupid things when we were in school when we were kids. Like, you go remember, like, I've said ridiculous things in school that I would never say now, or things like, we're quite lucky that social media wasn't around when we were that young, because I think,
oh my God, I was an idiot when I was 13 years old.
Yeah.
Fuck me. If
Like,
I'd been allowed Twitter.
and especially because in those times, I think times were back in like the mid-noughties, you think about little like programs like Little Britain and stuff, you know, there were things like blackface on TV. Like, to see someone do blackface back then as well was just almost normal. Like, it wasn't even, now obviously we know better, but like, people with social media back then, if they held all that shit, the amount of things that would come out online now that people have done back then or been transferred. Sex and City, mid-noughties.
Oh my God.
Things
Yeah.
They made an entire episode of Sex and City about how disgusting and horrible it was to date a bisexual male, and how awful it was to date a tranny, and like they would use the word tranny all the time. Like,
Did they actually?
yeah. Samantha's like, oh, all you had to do, the only thing that would cost $20 back in my day was like a hand job from a tranny. Like, that's the kind of stuff that would be on TV back then, and it was almost normal to people. Like, it was normal. You just have to remember that you ain't pristine. And you like to think that you're this high and mighty person now. But I bet there's some shit from your past that, you know, would turn a few heads.
And as well, the amount of time I hear jokes and think offensive jokes said at parties and everybody laughs. And then somebody says it on Twitter and the same people who laughed at the joke at the party are suddenly there with the pitchforks, there with the flaming torches, ready to fucking burn that person at the stake. Try and be kind to people you don't like. I'm kind to people I don't like.
I find that very difficult.
There are some people I really hate, and I just... what's the point in hating on them? Just be nice to them.
Thank you for being on my channel again. It's been a while now.
Yeah.
And so if you want to watch some more videos, there's one down there. You can, obviously, I've got some like new merch out as well if you want to get that. There'll be links as well. So come follow us on all of our social medias, Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all the links are down below. Make sure you hit the like button to really help me out. Subscribe for more queer chat and all the other episodes of stuff. Massive shout out to Kelly, Stephanie, and Teresa, who top 3 patrons. Love you so much. And there's a Patreon link down there. Don't forget Patreon and help me do this full time. Oh God, I love you. Bye.
Bye.
Oh God, I hate them.